go.
So I'll open the group here and I'll be able to see it live on Facebook.
It says that it's setting up.
It says on this end it's live on Facebook.
Oh, great.
So we are live.
We're live.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Carmel, thank you so much for joining us in Better Life Solutions today. It's so wonderful to have you here as our first guest for Coffee Conversations. So before we get to know you a little bit, I invited you to be our first member because I've always really enjoyed the connection that we share, and I feel that you're a very bold, bright and colourful person. So I wanted to kick this off with a bang today. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I was delighted to be asked. So thank you so much. Bold, bright,
and colourful, yes. Yeah, I enjoy our connection, enjoy having a laugh with you, and yeah, looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better today.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So for our audience, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh gosh, well, they'll work out quick enough by my accent that I'm Irish. So I'm very briefly from a family of 5 daughters in a little country town in Ireland, in a seaside town. And I've been in Australia, gosh, 32 years now. Wow. I still have the accent. And yeah, what would you like me to tell you? So I worked in hospitality when I was about 16 years of age, was when I started. And always looked at the managers and said, I want to do what they do because they seem to do nothing. Be careful what you wish for. It doesn't always happen. So when I came to Australia and I worked hard and I kind of rose up in that level of management and upper management, regional manager, I also did a recruitment for hospitality. But always had underlying a passion for people. That was the thing. So the business, the Communication Queen, was born about 10, 11 years ago when I went to study coaching because I was at a point in my life of, oh, what else? And it seemed great. Let me become a coach. I can help people and get paid for it. Well, it doesn't always work that easily. So through a period of in and outs and ups and downs, discovered, well, it didn't matter how good a coach I was if I couldn't actually market myself, if I couldn't tell people how it was. So that's kind of the short version of where it's brought me to where I am today, where I help businesses identify their lucrative target market, then craft their message for their marketing so that they can monetize it and profit from it sooner. Because when I started getting kind of good at doing it, people said, how are you doing that? I went, oh, well, you just do this. and that's a very short version. I mean, in amongst that, I've been married, divorced. I have 3 children. I have 2 amazing grandchildren. So, but that's a very little peanut shell of me.
Wow, awesome. And how old are your grandchildren?
My eldest grandchild is almost 10 and the other younger little scallywag is 6.
Oh, they'll keep you on your toes for sure.
Very, very lively. And I often describe them as kids that would climb up a straight wall. Like they don't sit there and be nice about it. They're full of energy, but I'm so grateful that they are,
Yeah.
It's terrific. And they are here in Perth as well. So I'm here in Perth in Western Australia. Yeah. So I spent a few hours on Sunday with them. For some reason, I always end up being the one that's it. They keep catching me quite quickly. So yeah.
That's great. And so you were telling us a little bit about your business, which is the Communication Queen.
Yeah.
And you teach people how to market themselves and get their message across. And that's so important, isn't it, in any business, the way you present yourself and talk to other people. And I've actually 100%. Been to a couple of your little workshops and gotten a lot out of it. So awesome. That's really great. So I'd love to know, in your business, what are you most proud of?
That's an interesting question. I love doing interviews where I don't know the questions in advance, so you're not prepared. So I love doing it. So what am I most proud of? I'm most proud of the not giving up is probably one of the biggest things, because as I said, the communication queen, that name of the business actually started way back. And my passion then came from hospitality, as in I was doing team building and leadership and all of that sort of thing. But the communication queen has actually transferred to here, and it's still applicable. But in between all of this, the never giving up and the results that we can see from the people who work with us. Because at the end of the day, we all know everyone looks for the quick fix. There is no quick fix if you want to make a sustainable business that is long-term and works for you as well. So that it'll give you some kind of, we have membership and things like that. So it gives us a residual income as well. I can tell you now from when I started coaching, I would say there's less than a handful of people that are still doing it or that haven't gone back and got a job. And that's not to knock anyone, but statistics tell us between 85 and 90% of coaches and consultants will end up back in a job because it's a hard industry. So,
really is, yeah.
And people go out and they buy this product and they buy that product to help them, not realizing if you don't spend the time and the focus, having the skill, having the knowledge is one thing, but actually making it into a skill and putting that practice in it and being supported doing it is a whole different thing. And that's where we found has worked really well, that if we can support the people to get to that level, it makes a huge difference. And that's what, I'm so proud of. Amazing. Not giving up and bringing in that kind of culture into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You certainly do need to have a lot of resilience in a business of coaching, don't you? So
yes.
I love that message. Never give up.
Yeah, never.
Yeah. So we've heard what you're most proud of in your business. What are you most proud of in your personal life?
Probably the same thing that I've never I think I put a post up the other day and it was like on the other side of my 50s. So I've already divulged that, I have grandchildren, grown-up children and everything. And I think it comes to women in particular of a certain age. And it usually starts about that 45 to 55 age group, whereas like the kids have grown and stuff. And then comes in the voice of, but I'm too old to start something new, or how can I do something new? So my never giving up has kind of been like, to me, I still feel the same as I did when I was in my 30s, if not my 20s. The mirror tells a lie every now and again when I walk past it. Or sometimes you open your phone and it goes on the selfie camera up this way and you're going, oh, that didn't look too good. But I think I'd like to think that in some way, shape or form, that whether it's me or somebody like me, that we can kind of lead the way or guide the way or show the way, that age is not something that matters.
Yeah.
And it's very much, I know it sounds cliche and we've all said it, it's very much about the journey. It's not the destination. And I've definitely found that in business because the destination just keeps changing and getting further. So it's really important to say, well, I'm not too old. And I'm very proud of the fact that I got to an age and I didn't give up. And I mean this respectfully, but I looked at some of my parents. I always remember especially coming back from Australia to Ireland, you'd always notice the difference. There'd be a few years in it. And I remember there came a time, and I didn't realize it at the time, but in hindsight, I can almost pinpoint it, that because my parents came to Australia after we did, they came to visit, but there was a time that they decided, or society decided, and they decided to believe they became too old. And when they decided that, they sat.
Yeah.
And I used to kind of giggle, and their lounge room in Ireland, the room was quite small, but there was 2 big reclining armchairs and a TV in front. And I used to giggle walking in and going, oh my God, this is like God's waiting room. What are you doing? And some way, although I thought it was funny at the time, I think it was true. It was like, well, we're too old to do that, that, and that. So the subliminal thing was, let's just give up.
Yeah. It's quite
And there's
common,
a part of me,
isn't it? Yeah.
and there's a part of me going, no, no, no. So, and between that and like we had some deaths in the family and my darling sister, you know, it really kind of hit me in the face. And I went, look, I kind of always say, I'm going to go into my grave, God, sliding on the side of freaking something, because there is no winner at the end of this race. And I don't mean to sound morbid, but there isn't. So what are we doing wasting our time? We're all going to pass away at some stage anyway. So let's just enjoy and experience fully who we are and who we're being in this thing that we call life right now.
Yeah, I love that.
Sorry, I get a bit passionate about that.
It's all about living life to the fullest, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'd love to know, who is someone you look up to now, and what is it? What do you value in that person?
Who do I look up to now? God, there's so many in so many different ways, and there can be just the normal person that I can look up to that has had such resilience or had such a dreadful hardship of life and has come out the other side as such this amazing person. They can literally be people like that. It doesn't have to be a big famous person, is my point.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by human behavior. I'm fascinated by what makes us tick. So who do I look up to? Gosh. My mentor is one person I certainly look up to. The most down-to-earth man I have ever met in my entire life, for somebody who has built multi-million dollar businesses. Wow. And just very open and generous. And I nicknamed him at one stage like the millionaire next door. You would never know. Because there's no pretentiousness, there's no ego, look who I am, there's nothing like that. Just a genuine care and want to actually see others succeed. Or as he liked to put it, I want people to come out and play once they have time. So that's definitely one. I work closely with an amazing young lady, and her name is Sarah, and she's a copywriter. Absolutely cannot believe for such a young person to have such a wise head on her shoulders. And I've seen her have some amazingly difficult stuff thrown at her and how she has come through that. So it's more that kind of thing I admire, is people's ability to step through and walk through stuff that has happened to them and come out the other side and still be true to who they are.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
it really does show that, you know, us humans, while we're just normal people, we really can, you know, be strong, resilient individuals and get through anything, you know, if we've got the right mindset and right attitude. And
and sometimes we know, look at society and social media and things like that. Sometimes that's a hard thing to do.
Yes.
To try and keep that focus. So it's important to be grateful, but to have people around you that support you.
Yeah.
And, you know, quite often you would know we start this journey of kind of learning a little bit outside the circle, and people say, oh, why don't you just go and get a job? Why don't you just blah, blah, blah. And it's not to knock those people, because that's where they're at. That's fine. But you need to seek and find out the people that can support you and help you grow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's that quote of like you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So it's important to have people that support you and encourage you and lift you up, and
be careful where you take your feedback from.
Yes.
Because I know if I said to some very well-meaning friends and family, hey, what do you think about this new project I'm doing? They'd say, whoa, too hard basket, don't do it. And, you know, but they would mean the best for me. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's not what I need.
Cool. So what's one thing that you can share that people will have no idea about you?
Oh, I'm so open with stuff and whatever. One thing I could share that people have no idea about me, that I won a disco dancing competition many years ago.
I love it.
Saturday Night Fever era, and it was dancing to the song by Boney M. Ra Ra Rasputin. Actually.
Yes. And what were you wearing?
And here, I was going to say, here's another thing people definitely wouldn't know. I was wearing a brown skirt. I was wearing little brown ankle boots. This was fashionable at the time. Can I just preface that with that? But I was wearing kind of almost like an A-line skirt, but it had 2 box pleats in the front because I had made it myself.
Wow.
And a cream shirt and a brown reversible waistcoat that I had also made myself.
Wow.
And but it's one of those things that was a defining moment, because I was the youngest of 5 daughters. And this is no disrespect to my parents or anything like that. By the time I came along, I was like, oh, take her with you. I always remember, though, as that I was about 15, 16 when I won this competition, which was a few moons ago. But I always remember the feeling of winning it and there was no one there to see me.
Oh.
Because my parents were busy, like, you know, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And they didn't, I was always trying to do weird things differently. So I did disco dancing and ballroom dancing. I used to wear the fluffy red dress and all of that. But I just always remember, and it's funny the things we make things mean.
Yeah.
So my life, in my meaning only, had been that I wasn't enough because I couldn't keep up with my sisters. I couldn't, you know. So when winning a competition and having no one there to say, hey, well done, blah, blah, of my own family, I always remember it being quite a defining moment.
Wow, that's interesting.
In my little homemade skirt and waistcoat. There you go.
Yeah.
Nobody would know that.
Do you have a photo to prove it?
No, because up until, I would say, 10, maybe 15, 10 years ago, I would hide from any photo that was, any camera that was ever brought out, I would hide from.
Yeah. And there were no selfies back then either, so...
Thank God there wasn't. And no Facebook Lives.
I'd love to see that outfit though.
Yeah, I could draw it for you and be pretty accurate with that.
Wow. Wow, that's really interesting. All right. So do you still dance? Is that something you still do? No, not even around the house?
I do love dancing. I do like dancing. I'll dance around the house and things like that. And look, every now and again, I've gone back and done a little bit of dancing, and I can still dance. I have a beat in my head, put it that way.
Yeah.
But no, I've never gone back to doing that. That was, I loved it though. Loved it. There was never enough boys in the ballroom dancing, so quite often you were dancing with another female in a big red fluffy dress and the big silver.
What an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Carmel, what makes you laugh?
Oh, so much. Everything, even the stupidest things. I enjoy making people laugh. Thoroughly enjoy it. And if I'm telling a story and somebody's laughing, I'll embellish the story. Because I love the feeling of them feeling good. And I often tell a lot of stories about, I have chickens, ducks and geese and all sorts of everything. So I'll tell the stupidest stories about, like one last week was I locked myself into the chicken cage to try and stop the geese getting at me, but then I couldn't get back out again. Now, instead of getting upset about things like that, I'm in hysterics in the chicken shed myself going, oh my God, I'm going to have to ring somebody to come and rescue me. I think things like that, the smallest things, are hysterical.
Yeah. So how did you get out?
Because I had to get my fingers out. So my biggest thing was I had to try and open the 2 gates simultaneously, because if the geese came in and tried, because there was eggs in there, they try and attack me before I could get out. So that was the trick. I eventually just worked it out when I stopped peeing on myself laughing. But it's the same with I think, you know, I fell down a hill out the back because I was trying to chase some ducks in and actually injured myself significantly. I tore my MCL. But within, I would say, less than 24 hours, I was absolutely in hysterics laughing about that. People were going, oh my God, you're so hurt. And I'm going, oh, who else would fall down a hill chasing bloody ducks? Like, I mean, come on. So many things make me laugh. Yeah, they do. But I don't like to laugh at people.
No.
I prefer to laugh with people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And there's just something about animals and their funny antics that can make you crack up at any time. So
they are such a kind of mirror to human behavior. It's hysterical. You watch them and you watch the bigger alpha male, if you like, you know, pecking the other ones and bullying them and excluding them. Fascinating. Yes.
I was once watching a group of ibises in a park. And for those of you in Australia, you'll know that ibis is quite a big bird, and they're also known as scavengers. And I was watching these ibises fly into a palm tree, and they were all squawking and making so much noise and trying to get attention and get their spot. And I just started comparing them to humans. You know, it's just they're exactly the same. Everyone's just vying for attention, trying to get their spot in life and their place and know who they are and have their family. And
it's fascinating. And I love, this makes me laugh as well, although I look a little bit crazy sometimes when I do it. I love people watching. And sometimes you can, like, sit, say, in a shopping center, food court, or anything like that. And if you just watch, like, some of the antics of people, you're like, it's hysterical.
Human behavior, right? So funny.
Yeah. And it's just and it's not like laughing because they've got some, you know, something wrong with them or something like that. It's just giggling at how they think this is going to work. That it's just it's just But I like to laugh. I think laughter, and one of my big things in anything I do, is there has to be a fun element in it.
Yes.
And you have to have the ability to laugh at yourself. It's just imperative.
It truly is the best medicine, isn't it? Yeah.
A good belly laugh. Oh my God. It's so good.
Yeah, that's great. So the opposite of laughter, I'd love to know, what are the top 3 things that stress you out?
Oh, top 3.
Yeah.
Now, Alex. Look, I like to think that I manage stress well, but the truth is, I think we all get stressed, and I think sometimes we live with a certain amount of stress. We don't even call it stress anymore because it's so normal.
Yeah.
But what would stress me out is, it's a great question. Sometimes it's the feeling of not doing enough. You know, I can't keep up. And that's when I have to change that frame to, it's not about the destination, Carmen, it's about enjoying the where you are.
Yeah.
Family. When, you know, again, I will always show, and maybe this is my hospitality background, I literally always show the face of not being stressed. However, the truth is, underneath it, I'm like that proverbial duck, you know, you get up there and underneath it, I'm going like that.
Yeah.
So it does stress me to think that any of my loved ones are in discomfort, pain, physical or otherwise. Yeah. What else would stress me? I'm trying to think of a third one. I think I'm nearly trying to make it up. I think they're mainly the 2, but I think they kind of cover a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, I suppose there's an element of stress when you have deadlines and you're trying to really get to them quickly.
Yeah.
But
But
I've
that
always
kind
had a
of,
belief that I work well under stress, which is something I've worked on
yeah.
shifting, because otherwise I wait till the stress builds to work well.
Yes,
Oh my
and
God.
that kind of stress, like working to a deadline, can actually be really healthy in a way that it
Yeah.
does get you motivated and achieving
Yeah.
what you need to achieve.
Mm.
It's when stress, like family or business or otherwise, starts getting on top of you, and you're not managing it well, that's when it can become
Yeah.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
So, what are your top 3 ways to deal with stress? How do you manage?
Movement. So walking.
Mm.
I am an avid walker, which was in changed a lot at one stage when I had severe plantar fasciitis. So trying to walk, because of my background in hospitality, it just became unbearable. But walking, I'm one of those people with the monkey mind that always said, I can't meditate. What are you talking about? I can't meditate, but I have. The more you say that, the more you need to.
That's
So I
right.
have found different ways. One of the best tips ever I got was from an elderly lady. Now she's in her 80s now, a beautiful Italian lady who actually studied NLP under Bandler, who was one of the
Wow,
developers
Richard
of it.
Bandler,
Yeah,
yes.
she's a linguist and has, just an amazing woman. But I always remember her saying to me, but Carmel, meditation doesn't need to be just sitting there and going,
Mm,
She said meditation is about being fully present.
yes.
And she quizzed me about what I did in the morning. So I quite often have a lemon drink. I said a squeeze.
Mm,
She said if you stand and you're totally present and you can smell that lemon, you can feel that lemon, she said that's meditation. And
mm.
that's how I started. And one of my favorite things is to do dishes. I go into meditation if I'm just doing dishes, but I've since upgraded. I usually go for a walk in the morning and I will sit, but I will set my timer for 10 minutes and I will meditate for 10 minutes. Because once I
Nice.
have that monkey mindness of, oh my God, what happens if I go into a deep meditation and the time is gone? So I set the timer and I have a certain breathing technique and a process I go to that I sink into. And that 10 minutes, and then I'll have some music on, and then I will write for 7 to 10 minutes. That really, if I do that every morning, my day is set up.
Mm.
And I have some very deep breathing specific techniques to do that take 2 or 3 minutes. So if I'm in that state, it's like, okay, get up, move,
Yeah.
and do the breathing. And yeah.
And calm the
So
nervous system.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And look, I went to an event the other night, which was about breath work and about some
Mm.
psychosomatic emotional release therapy, because I have
Yes.
studied psychosomatics as well. So I'm quite aware of, changes and what it's telling me and things like that. So I
Mm.
knew when I fell down the hill and frigging hurt my right leg that it was something about my masculine and my direction. And it was more around
Ah,
what direction I was afraid to be taking. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like you've got a really good routine in the mornings and that helps set
Yes.
you up for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. A
Yeah.
routine is key. Making it a habit
Yes.
is 100% key. Yeah.
Yeah. And is that how you stay most balanced in your business and your life?
The more time that I allocate to me in that kind of resourceful way,
Mm-hmm.
the more I'm productive in my business.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
has to be you first.
it has to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so great. So, lastly, Carmel, I want you to describe your most perfect day for us.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've ever perfect day. Jeez. What's my most perfect day? Gosh, I think every day is perfect. This is the thing.
I love it.
Things come in sideways or whatever. Okay, so my most perfect day will be to get up in the morning and out for my walk. If it was really, really, really perfect day, I would have no time limit on the walk. So I would just go out for my walk, come back, sit and meditate. I usually make my honey, lemon and ginger drink, sit and meditate and do some writing. And then it would be, you see, I've two most perfect days. One is where I'm doing stuff just for me, and one is where I'm doing stuff for the business.
Yeah.
So if it was, perfect, that I would be on a couple of calls with some clients that are taking action and ready to go. And then when that was done, that I would go out and, depending on the weather, maybe go to the seaside, or I'd go to some of the local markets, and just, one of those days when there is no hurry.
Yes.
There is no need to be somewhere at a certain time. I've got the stuff done. I've relaxed. These people are doing their stuff. I'm over here. I'm reading a book, sitting down. I was going to say I'm having a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'm having, I can't even say I'll go to my favorite cafe because the poor things have closed, but there is one similar. So sitting down there, having a hot chocolate, soaking in the ambience. Yeah, that kind of thing would probably be my perfect day.
Yeah, I love it. I'll have to come to Perth and join you sometime.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in around there somewhere is in the bare feet in the garden, more than likely
Yes.
grounding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, Carmel, how can people find you?
Facebook. They can find me anywhere, actually, Facebook and LinkedIn. I have it written here. The Communication Queen is my business name. So you can find me under Carmel Murphy, the Communication Queen on Facebook, or just Carmel Murphy.
Yeah.
My profile is public. So in actual fact, I've just realized I think I'm wearing the same shirt, except I'm like this in my profile picture.
Right.
So yeah, you can contact me in any way, shape or form on social media or through my website.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's been so good to get some insight into you and what makes you tick. And I've really, really enjoyed talking with you. And I look forward to seeing more of you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure. And I love coming into an environment where I don't know the answers and we just go with the flow, and it's perfect.
Yes, love it.
Yeah,
it's been lots of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you, Carmel.
That's okay.
You'll have to tell me how to, it's all right.